Mommy's doing a video right now.
Mommy, my belly hurts, my smell good juice.
Okay.
Who has a few?
Okay, go out to daddy. Thank you. Hey everyone. Hello. How y'all doing? Come on in. Make sure you have a notebook. I'm just going to take some time to admit people because we do have a waiting room. Dousing myself with oil. Come on in. Come on in. It's going to be a full class tonight. That's all good. What oils are you putting on? Tell me in the comments if you're putting oils on. I just do. We'll get started in about 5 minutes, so make sure you have some water and you have a notebook and a pen because you will probably want that to take some notes tonight because we are going to get pretty deep on some things that you can do to help your lymphatic system, specifically in the area of armpit area, chest region, okay? Just for that healthy breast tissue. Seem to resonate with so many of you. I was just going to talk about the lymphatic system because, you know, we're heading into fall and winter and it's really important to keep your lymph system healthy. But then I thought, let's narrow it down because I know I have heard from so many women, I hear it over and over again, that they just have sore, tender breasts, and that has to do with many things. One of them, lymph congestion. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So just a few more minutes. Come on in. Okay. Just checking my list, make sure I have everyone entering who should be entering. So hard to keep track. There we go. Okay. Yes, Andrea. I don't know if you all can see, but like the participants that are wanting to join, if there's someone that's wanting to join, please let me know, message me or something.
Do you know what the injury pro is?
Unless it's in the medicine cabinet. Okay, thank you. Close the door and then mommy's working, okay? Thank you. How are you all tonight? Okay, in the chat feature at the bottom, I do have everyone muted just because that way we can hear everyone. Whoever's going to be speaking, it's just easier to hear folks. So if you have a question, if you're new to Zoom, I feel like we all kind of know Zoom now because of the lockdowns and everything and the shutdowns, and we just all got very familiar with Zoom. But at the bottom, there's a chat feature and you can ask any questions as we go along. I'll take some time at the end and go through questions. and answer those questions. But go ahead and feel free to if you are new to joining our Zooms, tell us where you're from. Let us know if you're applying any oils tonight. What oils are you putting on and loving? Okay. We're about ready to get started. Yay. Welcome, welcome. Okay, I know there's probably gonna be more people popping in, so I have to be mindful of that. I feel like I get started and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, all these people are waiting. I feel so bad. But I don't want to keep you guys waiting because we have a lot of information to cover tonight, and I really tried to keep it to those low-hanging fruits to make sure that you feel confident in just moving forward in taking care of your lymph, taking care of your breast health. So we are going to get started. Hey. So we have Sarah, Paul, and Kelly Miller are going to help facilitate this class. They're going to be sharing their stories, and they're really powerful. And I have some other testimonies from another woman very close to me that said, yes, you may share my story. You need to go ask Daddy now. I'm on a call. Somehow they just find me. All right, so okay, one person, Heather Cressman. Sarah, do you know Heather Cressman? Okay, I was looking at my list and I didn't see her. Okay, perfect. Okay, so my name is Sarah Stutzman, and I just want to start this off by saying I am not a doctor. I am not in the medical field per se. I'm a trained health coach, a holistic health coach with the lens of functional medicine, so that we can look at the root cause, because our body is fearfully and wonderfully made. We are so intricately designed from our thoughts, our emotions, how the sense of smell helps our emotions. And every system in our body is working together. So we cannot treat one system separately, which I feel like we're so used to doing, right? So I just really ask you to be open-minded, because I know when I started venturing down the holistic world, I was like, what? Energy field? That's kind of weird. And the more that I learned, the more that I became open to it. And so just open your mind, right? Take things in, take notes. And if it's not resonating with you now, it might in a month or two, or maybe a year, when things start to just come together as puzzle pieces, right? So I'm not here to diagnose, treat, cure. We are looking at this in the form of functional medicine, looking at the root cause and how our body was created, and taking in all aspects of our world, of our surroundings, of our body, okay? So much of this tonight stems from my own journey, which I shared on Facebook, which I think many of you said, yes, I want an invite, yes, I want an invite. About 4 years ago, I was having severe breast tenderness. Now, mind you, I was doing all the things, eating clean, all my products were clean, not a whole lot of toxin, load in my body. But the one thing that was really, really heavy in my life was stress. How many of you have a very heavy burden of stress or emotions that you stuff, or past trauma that you have not released? You can kind of nod your head. You can say, yes to yourself. You can say yes on, the chat feature, because what we're going to talk about tonight is also some of our emotions that we stuff in these areas. So I started doing some, I experimenting, I guess you could say, and venturing into what could be the root cause of what's happening in my system, okay, in my body. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But let's talk about the lymph system. I am going to share my screen. Sarah, Habitat Studios facilitator. Okay. Not familiar. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys and kind of show you what the lymph system looks like. So this is, can you all see that? I hope you all can see that. This is your lymph system. You have, that's kind of weird because I don't see you guys on here. So your lymph system is in charge of removing excess fluid from body tissue, absorbing fatty acids, transporting fat and lymph fluid, and producing immune cells, including lymphocytes, monocytes, and plasma cells. It's also in charge of fighting infection. And the parts of your lymph system are here. There's a lot of detailed parts, but I'm just going to kind of point out the ones that you might be familiar with. Your tonsils, thymus gland, your lymph nodes. We all know, like right behind our ears, when we feel like we're getting sick, we feel those lymph nodes, okay? Your lymphatic vessels. Those are all those little vessels, all those little nodules that you see, those are your lymph nodes, okay? Your spleen, your liver, bone marrow, and even mammary glands are all part of your lymphatic system. And I'm going to stop share right now so we can get back here. There we go. And so dive into that on your own, research that, look into that system, and get familiar with it on your own. I'm not going to dive into it because we could be here all night, right? But your lymphatic system helps fight infections too, and pathogens that it comes in contact with. It's you know, moving lymph. It's cleaning out, you know, your bodily functions, your tissues, but it doesn't have a pump. Okay, so that's why it's really important to continue to drink lots of water and move. Moving, exercise, jumping on the trampoline, sitting in a sauna, and so that you can sweat all those toxins out. That is really helpful. Or, you know, if I know gyms aren't really open like they used to be, and no one really has a sauna in their house, but if you have access to a sauna, or if you can sit in like even like a hot tub too, where you can just sweat for like 15 minutes in some Epsom salt bath, doing something like that too. What happens when you have a poor functioning, Missy O'Malley, Sarah? Yep, Kelly's saying yes. Okay, perfect. I have someone saying they can't get in. Sorry, guys. All right, so what happens if you have a poor functioning lymph system? Well, this, and let's see if any of this resonates with you besides the breast tenderness. If you have a poor functioning lymph system, it creates inflammation in your body. Inflammation is usually the key component to so much dis-ease in people's body. And when we let inflammation get out of control, these things can happen. Inflammation then leads to possibly infection. Maybe some things like this: fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, chronic fatigue. If you just are so tired, right? That chronic fatigue, bloating, poor digestion, cellulite, fat deposits, and even obesity, okay? And so we really just need to get that lymph system under control, take care of it, love it, to reduce that inflammation. Because if your lymph is congested and it's not moving, it's creating inflammation. And so what causes that? What causes a stagnant, blocked, congested lymph system? These things. And these are the things I share all the time. Second. These are the things that I share all the time. Processed foods, okay? Foods that are not living, foods that are in a box, foods that come from restaurants that might be made with oils that are less than. So, you know, any of the canola, highly processed vegetable oils, toxins in your life, like that toxic overload of either chemicals that are on your produce. That's why it's really important to have like organic produce. Toxins that are in your cleaning products, fragrances. Jody Wolf, yes, right? Okay, toxins that are in your cleaning products. Not getting enough exercise. If you sit at a day job and you know, an office job and you're sitting all the time, making sure you get out at lunchtime and walk. And then again, heavy stress load or trauma or stuffing those emotions. That's what causes that stagnant, congested lymph system. Sounds really like basic, right? Would you agree? Like, oh, yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's just those everyday things that build up and build up and build up. And, you know, processed foods, toxins, either on our foods, in the form of, you know, sprays that are used on our produce, not getting enough exercise, heavy stress load, all of those things can be such a burden on the lymph system. It leads to an overtaxed lymph system. It can't move the fluid. It can't move it fast enough. And something we don't think about is where we store our emotions. Ladies, our breast area, our chest area is an area where we give and receive love. Even in men too, because men can have congestion in their lymph as well. I'm going to say it again. Our breast and chest area are where we give and receive love. Think about when you go in for a hug, right? It's chest to chest. Think about when a baby is born, and maybe you've had this experience. I did not, and I wish I did. But they lay that baby right on you, skin to skin, right here on the chest. Okay? Breastfeeding. Okay? We're giving and we're receiving love. And if you're doing all the things right, but you are feeling depleted, think about your emotions and where you store them. Okay? I hear a lot of women say, breast cancer is in my genes. My mom had it, my grandma had it, you know, my aunt had it, it's in my genes. I have the genetic disposition to get breast cancer. Our genes, I would say, are like a loaded gun. We have the choice to pull the trigger or just to keep it loaded, right? That's really heavy to say that. By the food that we eat, by the thoughts that we think, by what we put on our skin, by what we have going in the air in our homes. So think about that. And I know so many of you reached out to me, which I absolutely loved, saying, I have this in my family, but I am trying everything I can to keep healthy breast tissue, to keep my body to keep myself from not going down that same path. Also think about the genes that you inherit on the cellular level, right? Well, that's the same thing. But on the cellular level, we can inherit the way that we cope, our coping mechanism. Think about it for just a second. And I'm sure this won't take long because I often think about this a lot. Like, wow, I just did that. And my mom does that, you know, like, sorry, mom, my mom's on here. But you think about like how you the way you act, the way you think, the way you respond, the way that, you know, you cope with stress and emotions. You inherit that. So think about a family member that you resemble, or the things that they do that you do. You inherit that. And so if you've had someone in your family that has had unhealthy breast tissue, just going to leave it at that. Because I don't want to be diagnosing, curing, or anything. We're talking about breast tissue and the health of it through our lymphatic system tonight. Because I want you to have a healthy breast tissue before any of that would even manifest, okay? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about prevention tonight. And think about, if you've had someone that has had unhealthy breast tissue, do you have those same tendencies? Do you have those emotional, those ways that you cope with emotions, the way that you, you know, stuff those emotions, or maybe you haven't worked past trauma, or maybe it's stress in your life that, you know, they have the same kinds of stress, you have the same kinds of stress, right? So think about those things and just be mindful of them, because it's something that we don't talk about. We don't talk about those things. So I just wanted to bring that up because we are so intricately designed, okay? So intricately designed that our emotions, when we can store them in certain areas. And a lot of times women store emotions in their breast area because that's where we give and receive love, right? So any questions, remember you can put it in the chat feature and I will answer them towards the end. So I have this awesome book here. It's called Releasing Emotional Patterns with Essential Oils. And when I was going through some things and trying to like make sense of everything, I reached for this book. It's a heavy book, and there's a lot of back and forth flipping to different charts. But if you have lymph congestion, this is the emotion that's attached to it: depletion. As women, we want to give as much of ourselves to everyone around us. We want to say yes, we want to please, we want to help, we want to do all the things, and it leaves us feeling depleted. And that is the emotion that's related to lymph congestion. So it could be in your breast area, it could be in your lower groin area, it could be all over. You saw those pictures that I shared earlier, or the picture that I shared earlier of where your lymph are. And so here is your affirmation, because the other side is rejuvenated. I want you to feel rejuvenated. I don't want you to feel depleted at the end of the day. I want you to feel rejuvenated, that you set boundaries and you told yourself, you set your best yes. You said no to what does not serve you and what depletes you, and you said yes to what fills you up. And your affirmation is, I take care of myself. I take care of myself. And we look at self-care as this, you know, this thing that, you know, it's a luxury to go and get a massage, or to have a gym membership, or whatever it is that is self-care to you. It is very important as a woman that we take care of ourselves, even if it's 30 minutes out of the day. And so I just want to make sure that I touch on that point. And here's the oil that you can use that I was using. It's called RC. It's so odd because RC, if you're an oiler, you know, RC is more for like respiratory support, right? But RC stands for respiratory and congestion, lymph congestion, right? It also has oils in it that help stimulate the lymph system, like myrtle. Okay, lavender is very soothing. And so what you do is you take that oil, you put it in your hands, and you rub it right over your chest area. And you say those affirmations: I take care of myself. I am rejuvenated. Okay, and you just do that. Okay, and you breathe it in. Okay, and you use that oil on that area, or wherever you are feeling congestion. Okay. Are we all good? You guys taking notes and I love it. Okay, so let's talk about 5 things And I could go on and on about more things, right? But I want to help equip you with some things that are low-hanging fruits and some things that, if you've already taken care of the low-hanging fruits, that you can dive a little bit deeper into. So like I said, those things that really tax our lymphatic system are the toxins, not working out or exercising or moving enough, stress, proper nutrition. So those are the low-hanging fruits. Look in your life. Are you drinking enough clean water? Do you have proper nutrition, clean food, lots of fruits and vegetables, limiting your processed foods, including sugar, making sure you're having movement, making sure you are breathing throughout the day, taking time to breathe. How many of you get to the end of the day and you're like, did I breathe today? Like you felt like you held your breath all day long. Lindsay, I see you nodding, like, yeah. I do the same thing. I'm like, oh my goodness, what a stressful day it was. I didn't even breathe. And it is all tight in here, right? It's all tight in your chest area and in your back. So making sure you take time to breathe. And then ditching the chemicals. And I'm gonna ask Sarah, this is my number one thing. So those were the low-hanging fruits, right? But this is such an easy thing that you can do to ditch the chemicals. And I know it seems overwhelming, but we can help you do this. And I love Sarah's story that she shared on Facebook today. And I also have 2 other stories that I'm going to share after hers, but I'm going to let her share hers and what she did when she had those fibrocystic breasts as well. So Sarah, would you mind popping in? Sarah is awesome. She's one of our leaders in here, and she just brings so much truth and wisdom to women, to families. And so I just can't wait to hear you. Go for it, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Sarah. Thank you for letting me speak. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, wonderful. Hi, everybody. I wanted to share a little bit about my story that I know I've known Sarah for quite some time, and she messaged me today and she said, you never shared that with me. She's like, I can't believe you never shared that with me. I don't know. And I guess with issues, or not even issues, when we as women go through some of these things, we don't realize how common they are. At least that's how I fall into that, that area where I am going through something, but it might be a little bit of a delicate situation. When it comes to, to my breasts, I'm usually not just walking around, even talking to my nearest girlfriends. Hey, by the way, do your breasts ever hurt, every now and again? So I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. I got pregnant with my son. He is almost 5. He'll be 5 in October. And before that, I had extremely, I actually had fibrocystic breast tissue, if anyone knows or has experienced that at all. And what it is, it's when your breast tissue is extremely dense. It is basically filled with cysts. And it is very, very difficult to discern what is normal tissue and what is abnormal tissue. My breasts were hard, dense, painful, almost the entire month long. Like it wasn't even just surrounded around my menstruation or anything like that. To the point that before I was 30, I had to get 3 mammograms done and also 3 ultrasounds done during that time, which is not typical for a woman under the age of 30 at all. Because even my doctor, when I would go in for my annual every year, he would do my examination, and every single year I knew it was going to happen. He could not tell what was happening with my breast tissue. So it was very difficult for me to give myself self-examinations, because if you figure, even if my doctor could not discern what was normal tissue, what was abnormal tissue, for me, I had no idea what I was doing when I was doing my self-examinations. And basically after that, because when I had asked him, I was like, okay, well, this is extremely scary. Everything turned out to be normal through those times, which I'm so thankful for. But I asked him, what can I do? What can I do to change this? And he just said, you can take Advil, is what he told me. You can take Advil for the pain. You can take Advil for the tenderness. And that was it. Literally no other recommendations at all. And I'm like, this is insane. So I talked to my mom about it. And what did my mom say? Oh yeah, I have fibrocystic breasts too. It's just what's going to happen to you. And I'm like, what on earth? This is insane. This is like crazy business. So my doctor's telling me the only thing I can do is take Advil. And my mom is telling me, yep, you're destined for fibrocystic breasts for the rest of your life. Sorry, kid, I have them. Hey, my mom even had them. And now guess what? You're going to have them too. And I just wasn't willing to accept that as an answer, because if you take a look about what causes that condition, it's higher levels of estrogen. And if you take a look at what causes higher levels of estrogen, especially in a 25-year-old girl, it's going to be a lot of things that I was doing in my life. My lifestyle was fairly healthy, but I was doing a lot of things in my life that were inadvertently raising my estrogen levels, or that were introducing chemicals into my body that were mimicking estrogen within my system. So then my body was just out of whack. It was not where it needed to be. So what happened to me, I didn't have like an amazing cure or anything, but I can tell you, here I am. My son is going to be 5 next month. I no longer have this condition at all. It's not just because I had a child, but leading up to my pregnancy, I had a very difficult time. I had a hard time conceiving, and I suffered with multiple miscarriages before I was able to have my son. So during that time period, I started analyzing what I was putting on my body, what I was putting in my body, what I was eating, chemicals that we were using in our house, chemicals that we were using outside of our house. And slowly but surely, I started to live a chemical-free lifestyle, to the point now that my 5-year-old even knows, like, he goes around when we travel places. We were at a bed and breakfast or a Airbnb last week, and he goes, Mom, there are so many chemicals in this house. He's 4. He's like, why are these people using these chemicals? You haven't taught them? Like, you haven't taught them yet? And I'm like, oh my gosh. No, I'll leave them a note. Like, I will let them know. But he knows these things because it's how we live our lifestyle. So I truly, truly believe that it's just from changing my habits. I also incorporated dry brushing, which Kelly is going to do an awesome job about talking about in a little bit. So I'm not going to get into detail about that. But literally, by being active, like Sarah said, because I am active, and I'm not doing anything crazy. Like, I'm doing a lot of yoga right now in my life that has been very beneficial for me. And also by ditching chemicals, literally ditching chemicals in my personal care products, and in my household have my breasts changed, and now I have normal breasts. And when I go and I have my doctor be like, hey, it's my time, like, go and, give me a breast exam. And I even asked him, like, oh my gosh, isn't it so interesting that, like, that issue that we had forever for about 10 years, that it's no longer an issue? And he was just like, yeah, it is very interesting. Pregnancy can do that sometimes. And I'm like, okay, but that's okay. So I just wanted to share that with you, and also to share that if you're having some sort of things that you feel a little bit uncomfortable about with your body, you'd be so surprised with how many other women can empathize with those things too, just by sharing your story amongst a couple women, or hey, on a Zoom for a whole bunch of strangers too. So if anyone has any questions, if my story resonated with you, you can feel free to message me or to do, chat in the comments, and I'll be happy to chat with you. So thanks for letting me share, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah, for sharing that, because it's scary to talk about our boobs and, our period and weird things that happen to our body. But it's normal, it's common, it happens. And I love that you shared that, Sarah, because so many women can, resonate with that too and say, yeah, me too. And I absolutely love when women say, this is TMI, they message me, this is TMI, but do you know anything about XYZ? And I'm like, yes, this is not weird. Thank you for opening it up and sharing. Like, I am open to, if you have questions, message me. There's no subject that's like, oh, like, I will not judge or anything, because it is important to talk about these things. So yes, getting chemicals out. And I have two more stories. A friend of mine who, she is a close friend of mine since high school. She messaged me. She's like, "Oh my goodness, my boobs don't hurt and they're not lumpy. Could it be that I got rid of like all these chemicals that I'm slowly transitioning?" And I was like, yes, it is. And it's not like this moment, it's not going to happen instantly. It just like, it happens where it's like 1 month, it's like, wow, my boots did not hurt this month. I didn't have tenderness. And then the next month comes along and it's like, wow, it wasn't kind of a fluke thing. It's like, actually, like I feel normal, right? And then the other story is my mama, and she said I can share her story. I messaged her today because my daughter's, my Grace, she goes, yeah, Mama uses that Tide. She's using Tide again. And I was like, really? Because my mom always does my girls' laundry when she's there and when they're there. And I was like, really? And they can smell that. They know the smell. And just like Sarah's son, Coop, like my kids know, they're like, that has chemicals in, like they smell it. And it lingers on the clothes when you wash it. Anyway, my mom had to go back in. She was having some, she has fibrocystic breasts as well. She had a cyst removed, always struggled and got everything under control, cleaned out the chemicals, and recently went back to Tide to clean my dad's really dirty laundry from work. And then she started using it, and it's that slow fade where you just slip back to old patterns. And she was, again, it was just that one thing that she went back to, and she started having tenderness again, had to go back for a mammogram, was having more of the breast tenderness, the fibrocystic breasts. And so it's not, it's not all the things. It could just be one thing, right? That's, everything you put on your skin is absorbing into your skin. 60% of what you put on your body gets absorbed into your skin. It's your largest organ. So if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin, okay? So it's not just my story, it's Sarah's story, it's my mom's story, it's my friend's story, and it's your story as well. So we can change the things that come in our home. So that's one. Switching out those chemicals in your beauty care products, your cleaning products, fragrances, in candles and plug-ins and all the things. And so if you have questions on that, reach out to one of us. Number two, okay, because I want to keep this moving. We have so much to go over. Number two and number three, my good friend Kelly is going to share her story with us because it's one that it was my story too. I started going for thermography scans, and you're hearing more about them. I heard about it through a friend who was having a lot of difficulty, and I was like, what is this? And I said, okay, I'm going to make the investment and go to check the health of my breast tissue. So what thermography scans are, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to screen share so that you can understand while Kelly's talking. I'm going to put her picture up too. Let me see if I can find it now. Hang on. Okay, that's epic. Frozen. It is right here. Okay. Thermography scans use heat to tell the inflammation or the health, I would say the health of your breast tissue or your entire body tissue. You can use it, you can get a whole body scan, and it's infrared technology that it's not invasive. It's seriously, you sit on a chair and get pictures taken. Like you have to strip down naked, but it is so easy. You don't have to have anything squished and moved in weird places. When you see blue, that is healthy, okay? Red and white is not so healthy. That's showing inflammation. And so when we're talking about breast health, right, here's one that is just breast scans. This can detect if you have inflammation in your lymph, specifically your armpit area. Nipples are another big area of concern. where those mammary glands aren't able to move the fluid. And then it gets congested, it gets blocked up, it creates inflammation, and then could eventually lead to infection and things that are even worse. And so that's why we're talking about specifically breast tissue tonight. But if you look through here, you can get a whole body scan. And some people use this for if they have Lyme's, or if they want to detect any inflammation that's happening elsewhere on their body. So this is what thermal imaging looks like, the thermography scans, okay? And so I'm gonna stop sharing. Actually, I'm gonna bring up, Kelly, do you mind if I bring up yours right now? You can unmute.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, my dog started barking.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, you can bring mine up.
Awesome. Kelly also went for thermography scans. Let's see if I can get this up here. After I shared with her, she said, hey, where are you going? Where are you getting this done? I need to go and get a scan done too, because I'm just having a lot of congestion and some issues. And so I gave her the information, and I'll share that information in here with you guys later too. But Kelly's story is amazing. Kelly shared her results with me. So when you go get a thermo scan, you have a practitioner that does the scanning, but then they send it to a trained like a doctor that reads these scans and sends you your results back to tell you the health of your tissue. It's not detecting cancer or anything. It's detecting the health of this tissue. And when I shared that, European countries, this is covered. Like, this is considered healthcare, because we want to detect things before, things in your body worsen, and that disease can become worse, so that you can know how to care for that tissue and how to reduce the inflammation through practices that we've been talking about tonight and we'll continue to talk about. So Kelly, I'm so thankful that you're just sharing this really sensitive topic, because it's going to really impact and help other women. So thank you so much, Kelly. I'm going to just let this to you.
Okay. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So yes, my name's Kelly, and I'm excited to talk to you about this. I'm super nervous though. So I am a photographer, and so much more comfortable behind the camera than I am in front of it and talking. So, but thank you for having me. So about a year ago, I started to get a lot of tenderness in my breast and really in my armpit. And it's something that I had kind of going on occasionally, I'd say on and off over the last couple of years. And I even went to my doctor, like one of my physicals, and said something to them about it. And she said, oh, it's probably just an ingrown hair. You need to change your razor a little more often. And I was like, okay. It went away shortly after that, and I didn't think much of it. And it came back, and it kind of kept coming back. And really, I'd say like January, it got really bad, enough that it was kind of making me nervous and worried. So I had a thermography on my to-do list for years, and I turned 40 last year. So I knew when I would go to my next OB appointment, my doctor was really going to start pushing for mammograms. And I always wanted to get the thermoscan done before I had a mammogram. So it was kind of good timing. So I was going to tell you, Sarah did an awesome job about telling you all about what the thermography scan is. So I'm not going to go into that. So I have notes here. I'm just going to skip down a little bit. So I made the call, and I saw Lori at Aqua Blue Wellness in Leola, and she was amazing and totally put me at ease. And like Sarah said, you just sit down, and there's a camera on one side and screens on the other, and you just kind of turn and lift your arms up, and she takes pictures. And I could see the screen, and I saw a lot of red, and I didn't know what I was looking at, but I just saw red and thought red was bad, and kind of got really nervous. And she put me at ease right away, and it was explaining to me how all of that red I was seeing is lymph congestion. And also was like, you know, it's so good that you're here right now because you're doing something preventative. And this is stuff that we can work on. You know, if you let this go down the road, it could, like Sarah was saying, turn into disease or something more. So I was grateful that I did go when I did, so I could see what was happening and come up with a plan to get things figured out. And this kind of started my obsession with learning about the lymphatic system, and just amazed at how healthy flowing lymphs are so important to every part of our health. Like it's amazing how it's connected. So, and it was really interesting when I was talking to her about it, I was thinking back to the times that I would get this pain and soreness, and it really started to make sense because it always got worse for me in the fall into the colder months. And from my job, I get really busy in the fall, so I'm sitting at my computer for long periods of time, and any exercise routine that I'm on totally stops. Any self-care things that I've implemented stop. I totally stop taking care of myself. I get super stressed out. I don't sleep. And then once we get to the holidays, we start eating bad, lots more sugar. And then into the colder months, I'm not as active. I'm not outside as much. I'm not doing as much. So all of those things contribute to lymph stagnation or congestion. So like Sarah was saying earlier, the lymphatic system needs to be stimulated. It's not like our heart that has a pump. Our lymphs need to be stimulated by us. And so jumping and walking and massages all help stimulate that. And I always would stop doing those things. And that's where I would have the problem. And just everybody really, the modern lifestyle that we all have just doesn't give way to the proper amount of movement that we need to pump our lymphs all the time. So she explained a lot of that to me, and she said I needed to start dry brushing. And I'd heard about it, but I always thought it was more for like just skin health, not doing anything else. So I bought a dry brush that day from her, and that was my plan. I was going to start exercising more, making sure I was dry brushing, and I left feeling great, like super excited that I could get this under control. But then the COVID quarantine happened and everything I got like 3 weeks into my routine and I slowed down again. We were baking a lot of comfort foods. Everybody in my house was home, so my exercise routine kind of fell apart, and I was so stressed. I was probably the most stressed that I've been in a really long time during that time. And everything kind of fell apart. So I went back for my scan in May, and it looked worse. My scans looked worse than it did before. And I was just like heartbroken over it because I had such high, like when I left in February, I was like, I'm going to go back and everything's going to look great because I'm going to work really hard at this. And it was not good. And there was like slight improvement in some areas because I was really working on this left side when I was dry brushing. So there was like a little bit of improvement, but I kind of neglected the other side because I thought this was the side that needed a lot of work. But during that scan, my right side looked terrible, like way worse than it did earlier. So it scared me a lot. And then when I got that report back, it showed that I had temperature increase in both breasts. And my first report said I was at low risk, and now my right side was at some risk. So I did not do so much, but I didn't do very good. So, and I was really feeling terrible, like everything, I felt sluggish, I felt tired, I didn't feel good. So I left there really determined to make a change, and got back on my workout routine. I started dry brushing every single day. I was applying frankincense every morning and longevity, which is an essential oil blend, every night. And I don't think I've missed a dry brushing day, like maybe in those couple months, maybe like 2 or 3 times that I've missed it. So I was making sure I was drinking a ton of water, making sure I was getting sleep, keeping my stress in check. And I was taking Ningxia and Life 9 were 2 other things that I was making sure I was doing as well. So last month I went for my 3rd scan and it was immediately different. Like there was much more blue, and I don't know if, can you show that, Sarah?
Can you see it? Sarah Paul, can you see the, I have it up. Let me see.
No, we still see your web page from the Advanced Medical Thermography. That's what we see.
Okay, let me try this again because I've had it up. It's so weird. Let me screen share. Can you see this now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good.
Okay, so that first one on the left is my first scan in February, and you can see that's kind of like my side area, like right here. And it was, you know, some redness and all that. That's a lot of like blocked lymph area. That middle one was May, and you can see how much more red it got. And just, that was the side, that was actually the better side in May. And then that third one is after all the dry brushing and making all the changes that I made. So you can see there's a lot more blue area. I still have a little bit of redness there, but such an improvement from where I started, or even just from May. So I was really, really happy to see that. And not only did that look better, but my skin looked better. I felt better. I always had little like bumps on my arms, and those were going away. And I'm going to show you guys how to dry brush and tell you more about that. But I wanted to tell you all of the amazing things that happened from it. And one thing that I was totally not expecting to come from all of this was I always had IBS issues. And like since I was a teenager, and I would go to the doctor and they'd say, oh, there's nothing you can do, take more fiber, we can give you a pill, just got to deal with it. Oh, excuse me, you just have to deal with it. And I did for 20 years. I just would deal with it. And it was terrible. I would always have stomach aches. And since doing the dry, like being extremely consistent with dry brushing, I have been regular. I no longer have stomach pains. And when I went back for my last scan, I was telling Lori about this, and she's like, yes, everything's moving, everything's connected. All of those toxins are moving. You're moving everything. Your gut is improving. And it just was amazing that all of that happened from this little brush. And it blew my mind. So if you're having any of those issues as well, besides the breast tenderness, definitely make sure you get yourself a dry brush. And it's just all connected, and the lymph flows through all of your organs and transports dietary fat and circulates immune cells, and just getting all of that movement moving, and even the hormones moving, just so much for you. So so all of the dry brushing is just a soft, natural bristle brush. And I got this at the clinic, but they have them at Walmart, and you can get them anywhere. And I'll just show you really quickly, but there is, if you're on Instagram, there's a account on there called the Lymphatic Message, and her name is Lisa, and she is incredible. She gives so many just tips on the lymph system, and she has in her IGTV all of these self-massaging techniques that you can use, not even with a dry brush, just like slight movements like this, and for all areas of your body, but just movements. And she shows you how to do it, and they're so helpful. And she has a dry brush tutorial that is much more detailed than what I'm going to show you, but you can kind of just watch her do it through your entire body. So you start here, and like Sarah showed in the video, you have drains here and drains in your armpits. So you want to start, and Lisa says it kind of like do a little bit of a rocking motion, and you brush down. And then when you go over your breast, you brush this way and to your lymph node, or to your armpits. And in the way Lisa describes it is you want it to be a very, very light movement over your skin. But Lori had told me that you want to get that tissue moving, you want to press a little bit harder. So what I do is I do a couple strokes really lightly and then do it a little bit harder. So that light movement is what stimulates your lymph nodes and your lymph system. So you brush over this way to your armpits, and then underneath your breast up to your armpits, and then take all of this on your sides and bring it up and bring it down here, and then go all the way down your arms. And you do that on the other side. And then when you brush your stomach, you want to make sure you're going to your left hip in large circles on your belly. And then I do a couple strokes up and then circles again. And then can't really show you how to do your legs. It's a little difficult, but you have your drains in your groin area. So you do the same thing. You do like the light brushes at the top of your thigh, and then work your way from your feet all the way up your thighs, and do that all the way around your legs on both sides. And then you can bring it like if you have a long handle, you can bring like your back and bring it up around your neck. So definitely check out if you're on Instagram, she probably has a Facebook page too, but check those out because she gives really great tutorials on how to do all of that. And a couple other things, like if you're like me right now and you're sitting at your desk a lot, another thing you can do are the massages that I was telling you, just with your hands, but also hot foot baths are amazing for moving your lymph circulation. I think it's like 107, it increases it 117%. You do a really hot foot bath, and you can add lavender or like RC, like Sarah was saying, add that to your water. And if you know, a lot of people are working from home right now, or when you get home from work, do a hot foot bath, and that will increase your lymphatic flow just by relaxing. And there was something else. Oh, another great account to follow is, I love Organic Olivia. I tell people about her all the time, and she has a podcast called What's the Juice? And her Organic Olivia and Lisa Lymph did a podcast back in February all about the lymphatic system. And it was like just completely mind-blowing, all the connections that were made in that, and how much great lymph flow increases your health, and how it's so important, like talk about like root cause for things. A lot of it is you know, starts in the lymph system. So definitely check that out. And I don't know, so that was my story. If you guys have any questions, you know, please let me know, and thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That was an incredible story. Like those pictures, and just in your realness about how like you left there thinking, yes, I'm gonna do this. Like how many of us get like so excited? I know I have, and then life happens and we don't do these things that we say we're going to do. You know, you have the knowledge, but then it's putting it in place. And so I'm sure that second picture was probably like, wow, I need to put these things in place. And you did.
Yeah, I left like almost
and
crying.
like what an amazing result.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, then when you get that picture of that thermal scan, you know the health of your tissue. Now it's in your hands, you know. And so what I want to, you know, really stress what we're sharing tonight is, you know, these are tools. use I think that so the second thing is go get a thermal scan. I put it in here. Lori Martin, she was a naturopathic doctor, and then she practices more prevention now with what she does. She's incredible. She's so knowledgeable. Aqua Blue Wellness, I have the link there. She is in Leola, Lancaster County area. I think it's $125 for a scan. That is so reasonable. There's other places that charge maybe, like you checked it, I think it was like $245 down your way, or even more in the
Yes, it was in the Exton area. It was close to 200, and then you had to pay an additional fee to get a report. And Aqua Blue is $125 for your first scan, but you want to do a second scan 3 months later to determine your baseline, and that one is $90.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then I recommend, she'll recommend like to get that base and then come back in so many months, depending on the health of your tissue. I like to go at once a year and get it done, just like you were to get, a mammogram once a year, right? When you get to that age. But I like to know the health of my tissue and know how I'm doing. And so go ahead and get a thermal scan done, check your area. Some people are posting some other links, which are awesome, and some other places to get some thermo scans done. Dry brushing, go ahead and implement that. I picked this one up. It was like $3 at TJ Maxx, a really little one, but I like the long ones because then, like you said, Kelly, you can get in your back area. Massages. We are coming down to the wire here, so I'm going to run through these real quick, and then if you have questions on these, let me know and reach out to me. But massages, like you said, Kelly, you can do those things without a dry brush. Even if you take your fingers and go behind your ears and just lightly massage behind your ears and down your neck and start to stimulate that flow. I love these little jade stones that you can get on Amazon. Every day I do just some face massages to move the lymph in my face and then down my neck. So just to do that every day, that's something really relaxing. I'll put my face serum on that has like scents in, and just do it every day, and down my neck, down my chest. So in-home massages, but getting a regular massage, once a month or once every other month, because that moves the lymph. Raindrop massages, well, they're not really massage, it's a raindrop therapy. It's a series of oils that you put down your spine, and it actually, you move those oils into your organs, and it works the lymph in your spine. And then also reaches at the emotional level as well. So if you're interested in that, my mom, I will put her name here. She is certified in both emotional releasing and raindrop therapy, and she spends an incredible amount of time with you. She has that sixth sense. She's so gifted. So if you're looking for something more in-depth, that's someone that you can reach out to. Her name is Tracy Miller. She is incredible. She's in the Myerstown area. So massages. And you can even do breast massages too. If you check YouTube, I know I looked on YouTube for different breast massages and things that you can do to actually move the lymph in your breasts. So research that and you'll find great tutorials, just breast massages. And then the last thing, this is a little bit more in depth too, lymphatic drainages. So at Aqua Blue, Kelly, did you have a lymphatic drainage from Lori?
Yes, I did. I did that the same day I had my third scan.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was like one of those things that I just was like, what? But I'm going to try it. If you have a lot of lymph congestion, whether it's in your breast area or it's in your liver or in your groin area, she does what's called lymph drainage. And it's using frequency and energy. It's these like they look like light bulb wands, like long light bulbs, and they are electric. So you have to be very cool and calm. And she moves them over your body, and she moves your lymph into those ports in your armpits and in your groins. She goes over your entire body. It is the most incredible thing. If there's any area that's really congested, then she will, and she can't move it, it gets kind of sticky on your skin, it gets stuck. You might have to go back for a second massage. Like I got through my whole one, but she said some people that are really congested might have to go back through a second time. But that's like the high end. If you really need support in lymph drainage or in getting through that blockage, that's just an option. Lori does that at her wellness center in Leola. Oh, Melinda said you did that too. It's incredible. Like I'm actually wanting to go back for another one, just heading into the fall and winter. It's just nice. Like you go in and get your car checked, right? You get a tune-up and a service. Like why not take our body in and get these tune-ups? So that was 5. I'm going to leave you with a bonus. Foot detoxes. She does them as well in her practice, because Kelly, you were saying a warm hot bath, right? Ionic foot detoxes. Sarah, you do these in your wellness center as well. And you have women that come and they sit, or men too, and it's an ionic, it just attracts those negative particles in your body, whether it's lymph, whether it's yeast in your body, anything that is not serving you. So Sarah, do you want to just explain that just for like a quick second?
Absolutely. So what an ionic foot detox does, it puts a charge to the particles that are free radicals within your body because they don't have a charge, so you're unable to detox them appropriately. And just like Kelly was saying, like a very hot foot bath can do a lot, just to kind of trigger the lymphatic drainage within your system. So what this does, it does that, but in addition, it puts a charge to the free radicals, which are potentially disease-causing agents that are within your system. And then throughout the next 24 to 36 hours, similarly to massage, you're going to notice an increase in your urination, more regularity with your defecation, and that's where you're going to get rid of a lot of the those particles, and you're going to realize, more of the detox happens actually after the fact.
Thank you, Sarah. You explain that so well because you do it all the time. And so those are some options for you. I know it was a lot. So go ahead and start asking questions if you have them. We'll look through and answer them. This is just a start for you guys. So if one of those things resonates, start there. Start with one thing. Because if what you're doing right now isn't working, then you question the root cause and try something that, that resonates with you and your ebb and the flow of your body and the way that that God designed your body. We're so intricately designed. And so as you're asking questions, here's what's coming up next week. Sarah is teaching an aroma freedom technique. It's an emotional technique to help you, pinpoint where maybe past trauma is coming from, where fear is resonating, help you move forward. So it might help you in this area as well. And that is, normally Monday nights are a free class. This is something that is a specialty class. So Sarah, do you have any more spaces open for that?
I am sending out all the materials tomorrow. So if anyone is interested, I could pop you in. I have literally 3 spots left. Because I want to keep the workshop nice and small so that I can really work with everyone who's in it, just to be able to work as much one-on-one. It is a systematic way to release pent-up emotions, to also help to basically reprogram negative thought patterns, and to help to act within your full potential. So it's really to release things that have been holding you back, And just kind of when you're at a place where you know that you are worthy of more, but you're not exactly sure what is in the way. So it is a very systematic process. But yeah, if anyone is interested in that, like I said, I could squeeze 3 more people in because everything is coming out in the mail tomorrow. I'm including oils that you need for each of the steps, in addition to a worksheet, and then the 90-minute workshop. And you will also have access to me then via email for follow-up specifically.
Thank you, Sarah. We have a guys' night coming up at the end of the month. That's the last Monday because we hear from so many women, but it's going to be fun to hear from our guys too and get some guys on here. So invite your men. We'll be making that event shortly. And then at my homestead, we always have some nutrition nights. Once a month on a Friday, we have a nutrition night where you can come and learn about nutrition. If that's an area that you're like, I want to get rid of these processed foods. You can find that on my website, wellfolkrevival.com. I'll put that there. Because you can look under Folk School. Here's my website. And then, and those, we have one coming up, not this weekend, next Friday night. All on garlic and how to cook with garlic and plant garlic and harvest garlic. So those are some things that are coming up. And so let's see if we have any questions. I'm going to post a link here because I'm going to be giving away a roller bottle that has oils that specifically stimulate the limbic system. Not limbic system, the lymphatic system. So cypress, frankincense, orange, grapefruit. So I will post that link right here. Let's see if I have it ready to go. Nope. Sarah, do you want to see if there's any questions while I grab that Google Drive quick?
This was such a good workshop. So good. My brain is like, oh my gosh, I need to be more, I don't need to do anything, but I want to be more diligent with practices that I put into place. Because even with my dry brushing, I'm like, well, I'm doing it once a week. I would love to, that's my takeaway from this. I'm like, I can totally do that. It feels good, right? It makes us feel good. Yeah. So Sarah, you got that up?
I did get it up, yes. Let's see if there's any questions. Yeah, so click on this link here, this Google Drive. There's like 4 questions, and then I will pick a winner tomorrow evening.
Can I say one thing about the dry brushing?
Yes.
I forgot to mention, I do that before I get a shower.
Good
So I dry brush, so it's like every night before I get a shower. I'm a nighttime shower. So dry brush, hot shower. You want to take a hot shower first. You can, some people like to lower the temperature then, and then bring it back up to a hotter temperature. And then I would apply like the frankincense or longevity with carrier oil after I dry off. So I just wanted to make that clear because I forgot to say that.
Thank you. It's such a routine. Like that's where, Sarah, I fall short because I don't get in that routine, and it's a routine, the habit. So thank you, Kelly, for doing that, saying that.
Yeah, and Kelly, you said every night, correct? Yep.
Any questions? I think you answered that one about diluting. And I answered a bunch of the lymph drainage. If you have any specific questions, please reach out to us. Please reach out to one of us, Kelly, Sarah, or myself, and we'd be happy to answer even those TMI questions. We'd be happy to do that. So Nola, Raven, I don't think it would. It specifically says RC just because of the oils that are in that blend are specific for helping that congestion. Yeah, and RC is a amazing oil to have for fall and winter. You are all welcome. Thank you so much for joining tonight and taking time out of your busy schedules to learn how to self-care for yourself, okay? This is a necessity, ladies. Put yourselves first, fill yourselves up, and be rejuvenated. Have an amazing evening. Catch you later. Thank you, Kelly and Sarah, for sharing. Bye, guys.